Gathering 2023, also known as G4, which is not a reference to any military intelligence type organization or what have you. But here we are with Michael. How you doing, sir?
Very well. How are you?
Very good, and pleased to meet you. Also, thank you very much for the Thumb Butte bourbon whiskey. We're sampling just a bit, kind of getting down to the bottom of the bottle, aren't we, Michael?
This is not the first bottle either.
Well, there you go. And that candor is much appreciated. So, before we get into specific models, etc., what's your background? What got you into knife making or construction?
That's easy. I have a background in culinary. I've been cooking since 13 years old. I'm a graduate of a Le Cordon Bleu school. Cooking was my life. You know, if you look at my knuckles, they say, food. I was married to the kitchen. There's not a joke there.
There you go. And I'm just laughing because I enjoy it.
Yes, and this is the first time I've even revealed that to you.
Okay.
So, but while working in kitchens, I had the opportunity to work at a really interesting restaurant with a really cool manager of mine. He went by a name Big Black. If you're from Chicago, maybe you know him. That being said, a gentleman named Ed Kim, the owner of Red Horse Knives, now pretty big knife company, friends with Big Black. I had the opportunity to see one of his very first knives, and that was what made in my brain click, custom knives even existed.
Yeah.
And it was a rabbit hole from there, YouTube videos, trying to figure out how to do it myself. My first knife was born, it was terrible. 8.5 years later, here we are.
So you've been involved in making knives for about 8.5 years.
This has been my full-time job for 8.5 years.
Really? Okay,
Oh, yeah.
so you got out of the culinary industry or business or profession, yeah?
As fast as I could, to be
Really?
honest with you.
Okay.
It's stressful, you know, it's hard work,
Yeah.
but you're building somebody else's dreams. You know,
Right.
it's, at my best years, I did great. You know, I made what everybody would assume was good money, and you do well, and I had, like, you know, I got to be on TV and in magazines because it was a good restaurant. But at the end of the day, every year I made the owner $3.5 million, while I made pennies comparatively. It just never seemed worth it to me.
Yeah.
When I could figure out how to do my own thing and, you know, have my profits be exponential.
Yeah.
If I can do that, of course.
Right, and it's always a good way to say "ah, fangu" to that guy that you used to work with.
Exactly.
Or for, unfortunately. Yeah.
Exactly.
So, before we get too deep, clearly you like bourbon.
Love bourbon.
And is that your favorite adult beverage?
Oh, 100%. Rye, specifically.
Rye.
Love rye. Whistle Pig, 10-year, straight rye is my all-time favorite.
Yeah, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
What about tobacco products? Do you like cigars, pipes, etc.?
Love cigars. Love pipes. Unfortunately, I was a smoker for many years, so I try to avoid them now.
Yeah.
But gotta have a cigar in the Cove. You can't go to the Cove and not smoke a good cigar.
Got to decompress with the right thing, right?
So last night I was gifted, you know, a Cohiba. It's not my favorite, but I can't turn down a generous gift.
Right.
So it was great. We'll see what somebody wants to gift me tonight.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, very good. So with that said, let's get into, by any chance, do you have a sample of your first blade?
No, not even close. My first blade, coming from a culinary background, I do not know why. I just wanted to make pocket cleavers. But at the time when I started, pocket cleavers were popular. Everybody loved them. You know, this was 2015.
Yeah.
Weird time in EDC. Weird time for Instagram as a whole. You know, it was unfiltered and unadulterated. You could do anything you want on Instagram and grow crazy.
Yeah. And you did.
Yes.
Okay, and that was I know that sounded like a statement, but it was more of a question.
No, it
so you
certainly
did.
was a question. I would not be where I am today if I did not utilize Instagram at the time I did. You know, before I ever made my first knife, I was making pry bars and anything I could make to be a part of the EDC community. Mm-hmm. But I mean, they were not refined. It was just loose stuff, just trying to be a part of the world that I thought was so cool.
Yeah.
And you know, Instagram certainly helped that. I was at 5,000 followers before I even made my first knife, which was terrible. Just because the other stuff I made, pry bars and doodads and bottle openers, and but determination alone would not let me give up.
Yeah.
Couldn't go back to having some boss after not having a boss and realizing what freedom truly was.
It's almost like surrendering.
Oh my God, yeah. It was like giving up my own life. You know,
Yeah.
I might as well, you know, I don't want to say what I want to say, but you know, I might as well stop doing anything else and go, you know, to do that. It makes no sense.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. So what blade would you like to talk about the most? What is your favorite blade or your most popular blade in sales?
Okay.
Or, what have you? Just whatever you'd like to go with.
Let's talk about 3 if that's all right.
Yeah.
Let's start with the Carl here. So I've been making this knife for over 7 years now. I designed it with a Chicago police officer way back in the day just to replace his duty blade. But since then, this has been easily my best-selling knife to military, law enforcement, and anybody tactically minded. And last year at Blade Show West, it won me the Best Custom Tactical Award, which, got me in Blade Magazine and many other things, which has certainly helped rocket this knife from where it was to easily my best-selling model ever.
And these are all Carls here that I'm taking a look at, correct?
Yes, and then the Carl Jr., which is much more carry-friendly. The full-size Carl is certainly not meant to be concealed.
Yeah.
But we get to the Carl Jr., which is, 2.5-inch blade, much smaller handle, much smaller hook overall. It's easily concealable, considering I also can get the Offensive Industries Kydex for it, which gives you in-pocket carry, which makes it just completely disappear overall.
Yeah. Okay, the next one.
Oh, we got to talk about the Sume here, all right? Of course, everybody knows Ed Calderon, Ed's Manifesto at this point. Ed really helped bring a very particular blade style to the forefront of the American market. Nobody can argue that. He even picked one of these up for himself this weekend. And of course, this was inspired by his Elvia design and the blade shape, and we've got to make it my own. But this is easily now my best-selling knife. Excellent for EDC, great for self-defense. The 1.5-inch blade is small overall, but is a ripper when it comes down to it. But we have to move on. And we have to talk about the bottle rockets. The bottle rockets I designed at a weird time in my career. We all have weird times in our lives, of course.
Oh, not me, brother. Oh,
Yeah.
not me.
No, you don't seem like you've ever been weird.
Never. Or accused thereof.
Yeah.
Of course not.
So I left Chicago, moved to Reno to team up with a awesome company called Tom Cutler. They had a great shop. They had things. We were working together. COVID made life hard for everybody, including all our businesses. We had a mutual split. After that, I felt the need to just create something new. I made the bottle rocket. The bottle rocket certainly took my business from where it was onto the next level, and brought recognition to my brand from production companies and other people, certainly. That being said, the bottle rocket has served its purpose and is being forced to retire soon.
Really? Why is that?
I haven't signed any contracts yet, but I'm interested in leasing it to another company.
Yeah.
And it seems very fitting because while the bottle rocket brought me to the next level, I might as well sacrifice it to get to the next level yet again.
Right.
Not a lot of people understand the intricacies of the knife world. It's complicated. It's hard to get where you want to be and be successful. There will always be sacrifices. There are some of us that are granted with popularity from the beginning. Your knives sell themselves. It is not that way for everybody. You have to hustle. You have to work. You're selling yourself just as much as you are selling any model or knife you have on the table.
And there's also an emotional aspect from the consumer level. Not necessarily 100% of the consumer level, but there's certainly a level of emotion and also, dare I use the term, a hipster click type of a thing that comes into play.
You can't be at USN and not notice the clicks.
Yeah.
They're evident. This is my first year. This is all new to me. I'm an outsider. I'm lucky to have friends like Shane at Scorpion 6, awesome dude. John Gray has welcomed us into the community since we first started being neighbors with him at other shows.
Yeah.
But being a first timer at a show like this it's weird. People don't know who you are.
A little daunting.
They're skeptical of you.
Yeah.
The USN is comprised of the biggest and baddest makers. The Cove last night was insane. I've never been to an Emerson lottery. That was overwhelming, to say the least. But luckily I got drawn. Look at me go.
There you go.
Yeah, my first custom Emerson knife. Proud to own it.
Yeah. Great maker.
Stand-up dude, right?
Oh, yeah.
He met me for 2 seconds last night. And I said, good morning. This one said, good morning, Mike. Just recognized me from that moment of interaction and a handshake.
Well, and these are, you know, the term has been used for a number of years now. They're rock stars, right, in the industry. But these are guys who started off with a table. Well, and I'm only saying this because I know, and my interviews with, as an example, Ernie are, I mean, I've done them, and he recalls, but his original tables, when I first met him, not knowing, you know, that he was the guy who designed the, you know, the 7, my original version of that was a bench-made, factory-made knife that I was gaga for, and I took a pass on one of his customs at a show where, because I could not spend the, I think, $600 that he was asking for at the time, but his table was about the size of yours with about 6 to 8 customs on the table, along with some other things that he was selling, and no one was at the table. That's kind of that goes back into the history. So these guys all started off exactly where you are now, and maybe even a few rungs down on the ladder. So kudos to you, salute.
Cheers, my friend.
Yeah.
I waited longer than most people to start showing my knives at events like this. You know, I'm easily my harshest critic, as most of us are as makers. Yeah. I don't have that unbridled confidence that I see some people show up with. It's just
Well, I got news for you, brother. A lot of them didn't start off with that, quote, unbridled confidence, end quote, either.
Fair enough.
And I know that because I met them a long time ago.
Yeah, well, you know what?
They had to keep pushing and pushing and pushing. The old adage of, you know, endeavor to persevere, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
And I'm forced to believe you because you have slightly more gray in your beard than I do.
I got quite a bit more, brother.
I feel like it's only slightly more, okay?
Okay, well, with that said, kudos. I'm going to take a pass here on the table.
Please.
And your website is?
AUXMFG.com.
And do you have any other contacts or locations where someone could preview your product?
Certainly check out the Instagram at Auxiliary Manufacturing. It's heavily shadow banned. You will have to type in the entire word. I hope you know how to spell. I certainly don't. My wife does, though. I'm lucky.
Here we go. And there you have it. I like the logo, the hammer and the file.
Thank you very much. And just a brief background on that. When I started this whole thing, you know, I know we talked about Harbor Freight tools and just like starting from nothing. My first bevels were filed. And anything I did was, you know, pinned together and like as rudimentary as you could make a knife. That was how I was making it. But yeah, it's what I could do. It's how I could make it happen. It started me on this path.
And that's how you learned.
Exactly.
That was your first baby step, if you will.
Oh man, there was.
I hate that term. I just said it. I can't believe that I said it. But, yeah.
But it's appropriate.
Yeah.
You can't argue with baby steps. You know, any forward progression is still progression. If you don't notice the results immediately in 1 year, those results will be readily evident to you. You know, just persevere. Keep working forward. You know, talk to cool guys like you. Sell your knives at USN. Don't be shy. The worst thing you're going to do is get shut down and you'll be in the same place you were before.
Absolutely. Wise words, my brother.
Yeah.
We will see you tonight, okay? And we'll tip another cold one. Well, not a cold one, but whatever. One that burns a little bit.
Cheers to that, my friend. Cheers to that.
Salute.